Good morning. I'm WaywornWyrm, and welcome to my channel. And welcome back to a Friday show. It's the first Friday show in several months, but there's something I really wanted to talk about. And if you looked at the background image for this, you probably have an idea. We're going to be talking about Tomb of Annihilation and Curse of Strahd, and how those and sandbox games in general, specifically D&D in 5th edition with players in 2019. So there's a few reasons why I wanted to talk about this. I'm seeing on Twitter that while filming this, the Ghost of Salt March just went live. And I was getting getting last Sunday's episode of Tomb of Annihilation, the stream I do every Sunday night on Twitch. It's getting that ready to go live on YouTube for next Monday, because I keep this a week behind. Although if you go over to my Twitch, you can watch it now. And I had to go into the Roll20 to make sure I got the name of a river right. And I was looking at the parts of the map that are uncovered and the parts that are hidden, and all of these points of interest, and the foreseeable future plans of my of my party, who, this is the second game that we've done. We did Curse of Strahd before this, and we've got a pretty... I think they're a pretty general group. Like, I think they're a pretty fair representation of a D&D group in 2019. There's one player who... The Curse of Strahd was their, second game that they had ever played. And there are other members of the group who've been playing for decades. And there are members of the group who have been playing between that length of time. More than a couple of games, but less than decades. So I think it's a pretty good group. Pretty decent slice of the non-gatekeeping assholes, because we don't gatekeep. But anyway, in Curse of Strahd, we did 29 episodes, 30 if you count episode 0, character creation. And we just finished episode 22 of Tomb of Annihilation. We are nowhere near the end of that. But I wanted to talk about something that I've noticed with these really wide open adventures. Whether it's like Curse of Strahd, where you're just given a map and you get to go wherever you want, or Tomb of Annihilation, which is unabashedly a hex crawl, which is one of the earliest types of games in D&D. I don't think they work. But that's not quite true. They do work. But I think the amount of the amount of energy put in by the creators of the books and the GMs is far, far greater than what a party's ever going to use. For Curse of Strahd, we used about a quarter or less of the book and got through the entire adventure. Now, granted, part of that is my fault, and yeah, we should have used a bit more, but even if I didn't do the mistake that I made that really cut short the Curse of Strahd, I don't think we would have even hit half. I think the players would have gotten bored. And anyway, they felt a pressure to get to the end because of the narrative setup. And Tomb of Annihilation, you're supposed to have this ticking clock of the death curse, which gets worse every day. And so either you really limit that, or you go with it, and then they feel like they've got to do as little as possible. So my players just went to Oralunga because they were told they should go to Oralunga, and they stopped at a few places that they found along the way. They're going back to Port Nyanzaru. Then they're going to go to Firefinger. And they're going to go to Firefinger because that's where their guide's personal mission is. And then they're probably going to search for a little while for the words are just escaping me. For where the Red Wizards are. And then they're going to go to Amu. And that's it. Once they get to Amu, they're going to find the Tomb of Annihilation. They're going to go through, we're going to go through that mega dungeon. And that will be the game. Now, I expect it to take many, many more weeks. But I think it's still going to be not that... I think they're still going to miss a lot of things. There's a place called... there's the place Yelyark, which there's something there that they want. I'm not going to go too much into depth because of, both spoilers and my players might watch this. I kind of hope they do. But I don't think they're going to find Yelyark. Or is it Yelyark? I don't know. They might stumble into Dungrunglung, which I would love for them to go to Dungrunglung. But I don't think they're going to look for Dungrunglung. They're the mines that they don't know exist, and I don't think they're going to go over to that part of the map. So I don't think they're going to find it. They've got the quest to find the pirates, which they think the pirates they're just going to be sailing around. but they need, in their mind, they need a sailing ship to find the pirates. But a sailing ship is going to have to go into the Bay of Chult, and the big dragon turtle that requires tribute is in the Bay of Chult. So they're going to avoid the Bay of Chult as much as they humanly can. So they're not going to find those. They're kind of interested in the shipwreck in the jungle. Cool. It's a whole big chunk of things that they're probably just going to bypass without even realizing they were there. And that's a real shame. Because there's a lot of really fun and really interesting things in those places that they're just going to bypass because that's off the adventuring path, and they neither have the desire nor do they feel like they have the narrative freedom to just wander the dangerous jungles of Chult. The narrative is really pushing them to Amu, which sucks because there's so many wonderful things that aren't at Amu. And I'm gonna have to do a lot in Amu because I don't like how Amu is set up. I like the tomb. I don't like the city of Amu, or how you get into the tomb. I'm going to have to change that. And, Curse of Strahd had similar, where there was just a lot of really fun and interesting things that didn't happen because they didn't have a reason to go there. I mean, they completely bypassed the Amber Temple. The Amber Temple's fucking amazing. I think that's a really, really it's one of the most interesting locations, if not the most interesting locations in the entirety of Curse of Strahd, and my players don't even know it exists because they didn't even go anywhere near that. They didn't go to the Mad Mage of Mount Baratok, and they know he exists because I told him. They never went to the lake, Lake Volaki, to see what was happening there. There's a lot that they didn't do, that they didn't see, because they felt that the narrative was pushing them. They followed the narrative, and the narrative doesn't have a point where it just opens up. I think the best example of how to do a sandbox like that is Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, because there's this really linear narrative, the whole way through, but 3 narrative steps into the game, when you meet your handler, who's going to give you these missions that are that leads to the end game. He gives you 200 gold and tells you to piss off and go get stronger and come back when you think you are ready. And that's it. And then you go piss off and you go you figure out the worlds. Because he told you to. Because the narrative opens up and it's nope, at this point, you're going to stop, you're going to put the main plot down, and you're going to go do other things. A lot of people's favorite Elder Scrolls game well, almost everyone it's 5, but we're going to skip 5 for a second. We're going to go to 4, which a lot of people thought was really good. I personally didn't, because I didn't feel like the narrative ever opened up. I didn't get through the whole game, but it was just, I felt there was narrative pressure to fulfill the main plot and just go, go, go. And I think Skyrim sort of has that. It doesn't have a place where the narrative opens up, but there's not... But it doesn't really have a strong narrative, and I think the game is let down because of that, so... Yeah, I think you can have a strong narrative in a well-done sandbox game. I don't think D&D does it well. At least not 5th edition, especially Tomb of Annihilation, and Curse of Strahd. Horde of the Dragon Queen, the whole Tyranny of Dragons, the first line, that's super linear. I don't think... It's super linear, and it was made before they understood what all the rules... Before all the rules were finalized, so... I haven't really played Storm King's Thunder, or Out of the Abyss, or... I think it's Princes of the Apocalypse. It's the Tomb of Elemental Evil. I haven't played those. As I said, The Ghost of Saltmarsh just came out. So there are more examples where it could be better, but Curse of Strahd and Tomb of Annihilation are currently being held up as some of the best that D&D 5th edition has to offer, and it's, yeah. Well, either way, that is my ramblings for today. I hope you got something out of this. It went way off where I thought it was going to go, but that's not too bad. And before you go, if you've been watching my stuff, you've noticed that I am putting in end screens, which I think you should I completely lost where I was going there, so I'm going to start over. I've been doing end screens. It allows you to subscribe easier, and on this end screen you should see the playlists for Tomb of Annihilation and Curse of Strahd. Feel free to watch those. And on my other videos, it will be the playlist that the story is in, as well as what YouTube thinks you would like the best. Thank you.